So let's talk about this NFC East, right? Because, like I said, I'm not going to talk about the number 1 seed too much. And if it comes to pass, and next week, let's talk about it. Let's talk about the implications of it. But I feel like it's pretty safe in the 49ers' hands unless the Ravens win on the road in San Francisco. Then things get really interesting. But let's talk about this NFC East because, as we know, those dang Philadelphia Eagles, man, those Philadelphia frauds are on a 3-game losing streak. And a moment of gratitude for the Seattle Seahawks and Drew Lock for going down 92 yards under 2 minutes against that Matt Patricia defense and stealing a win from the Philadelphia Eagles. I was happy that night. It definitely made that loss in Buffalo feel a whole lot better. And that really helped us out because now, basically, here, I'm going to lay it out to you. Simplest scenario that the Dallas Cowboys can win the NFC East is that the Cowboys win out, beating the Dolphins, beating the Lions, beating the Commanders, and if the Philadelphia Eagles lose one more game, especially if it's against the New York Giants, because they play the Giants, then they play the Cardinals, then they play the Giants again. So they play the Giants twice in the next 3 weeks, and keep an eye on that Arizona Cardinals game because they have Josh Gannon, and Gannon was the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles last season, so we know the NFL. Like, players and teams get hyped up for their coach when they know that they're playing against their former team. So there it is. There's a little bit of extra motivation between that matchup right there. And my original prediction, which has kind of confined me, and I'm not going to lie, because I told you guys last week, I said I think the Cowboys are going to go 3-1, and the 49ers are going to take control of the number 1 seed, and the Eagles are going to go 2-2 in these next 4 games. So far, that is what we're getting right now between these 3 teams. And things can get really interesting really fast. But let's talk about something else here. I told you the simplest scenario in which the Cowboys can clinch the NFC East. But what if that doesn't happen? What if the Cowboys and the Eagles end up with the same amount of wins and same amount of losses at the end of the season, which would technically be 13-4? What if that happens? Or maybe 12-5. Who knows? What if they end up with the same record between that? Well, we got to do a little bit of math. And we got to do a little bit of research on this because we got to pull this up. This is your tie-breaking rules, and this is the order in which that you will go down the list if both teams in the division have the same amount of wins. So number 1, head-to-head, obviously that was split. Philadelphia 1-1 in Philadelphia, Cowboys 1-1 in Dallas. The best win-loss percentage in games within the division. Well, at that point, the Cowboys and the Eagles would be tied if the Eagles win out. Same thing with common games, same things with games in the conference. Now we got to go to number 5 here. And I'm going to need a little bit of help from my friend David Hellman here, whose tweet is right here. It says, if the Cowboys and the Eagles both win out the rest of the year, they'll be tied in overall record, division record, conference record. So the next tiebreaker would be that number 5 scenario would be the strength of victory, which is the combined win percentage of teams you beat. So currently, the Philadelphia Eagles lead that. So if it comes down to that, and if we're applying the strength of victory from today as of week 16, going into week 16, the Eagles would win the division even though we are tied. Now that's penciled in because that can change. Strength of victory can change based on the opponents that you beat, where they currently end up at the end of the year. So at the moment, if they're tied, yes, the Eagles would win, but you never know. And so that's where we're at. But just a lot of things. Unfortunately, the Cowboys don't control their own destiny. If they win out, it still does not guarantee them the NFC East title. But like I said, you cannot trust the Eagles as far as you could throw them, especially right now. But I think they're going to bounce back. I mean, could they have a 4-game losing streak? That would be pretty wild. But I don't know. We'll see.